Welcome to Watch the Game podcast. It's your man L.A. Cheatham.
Benjamin Banneker on a very nice spring afternoon, burning up, you know.
Hey man, spring is in the air. I'm also enjoying the opportunity to go on a little bit earlier, just in time. Sort of like a pregame show before the games come on. And if you out and about in this nice spring weather, or some people might be at the sports bars. You know what I'm saying? About to sit back and watch these NBA games tonight. Um, I mean, hey, it's on, man. The sun is shining. I think it's on for the rest of from spring and summer. It's on. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do when it comes to these NBA playoffs. What's happening?
Well, we ain't been in studio 2 at 9 in a minute, so we definitely got to do that. We definitely got to do that. I know we ain't been in the Shorewood branch since football season either, but we definitely got to get back behind the original settings and get some Brown in the cup. Had the game going because I don't think we've done that since the Bears.
No, that's pretty much where the passion comes in at. You know what I'm saying? And then we kind of segue into the rest of the year and pick up things as they go. A lot of experimenting along the way, but uh, we coming up on the conclusion of college basketball, men's and women's college basketball, and right into the play-in games of the NBA playoffs. And I consider after the NCAA tournament, I considered, and I'm still considering, not watching the first round of the NBA playoffs. Now, I got my reasons. Maybe you can change my mind, but I got my reasons. But I got some, with all the LeBron talk and the respect I have for LeBron and his legacy and what he means to the game today, I almost want to, spend a little bit more time watching Bron and trying to reel in a different appreciation for LeBron James. I mean, that might be my focus in this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have I don't have a favorite team and nothing like that. I'm just watching the game. So I'm trying to find a focus, something to focus in on,
That I mean,
especially early.
that's a. I mean, my team gonna be gone early if they even make it, the Miami Heat. But we'll get to that in a second. But it's funny that you brought up that LeBron James angle because I was sitting here, I was watching the play-in game when they played the Timberwolves. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it. I said, this dude has been playing basketball pretty much my whole adult entire life. Okay. So we talking this year 20 for him, I believe. He like 38 currently. And I'm
Mhm.
like, man, a lot of LeBron James' career outside of when he played the 4 years in Miami, a lot of his career, I didn't really appreciate what he was doing or what he's been able to do because I spent so much of my time defending Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And it's almost like because I took that stance, I couldn't really appreciate and receive what he was doing. Not that I was knocking him, but that's kind of how it came up. So I was watching the game last night. I'm like, man, you know what? When I get 20 years from now and I be, up there in my 60s or whatever, and people coming like, man, did you ever see LeBron James play? Like, I want to be able to accurately be able to describe what I saw. So I'm trying to change my narrative for these last, twilight years he got remaining. He's still playing at a high level, but that's just the stance I'm gonna take going into these playoffs and the remaining playoffs basketball that he got left.
Well, he's not going to change my narrative. That is not going to happen. I'm sure of that. But I do want to take out the time to appreciate what he means to the game and put it in proper perspective because The debate of Jordan, LeBron, it's Jordan all day for me. And then I'm probably one of those people that say you can't just move LeBron past Kobe.
I'm one of them people too.
And I wasn't a huge Kobe Bryant fan. But just my honest opinion is I just I can't move LeBron past Kobe just because I think a lot of us we living in them now, and but when you think about the game itself, the rules and the way the game is played it's changed so much to the point it's really unfair to compare. You can compare LeBron and Kobe to a degree because they were playing against each other at some point in time during their careers. But the era of Mike and LeBron is kind of uncomparable because Mike played in such a different league, and now that LeBron is playing in like you say in his twilight years, his 20 years in, just broke Kareem's record. The league has changed, even as LeBron has come into this league in 2003, he came into a very different league.
Hmm.
And it's almost like the league has been through three phases of play. And I think LeBron has shared his his throne. LeBron can share that throne with quite a few guys when you think about it. Michael Jordan, after he established uh, the ability to be a champion, outside of those Washington Wizard years, he never really shared his throne, or never really shared his airness with anyone else. It was him and only him. Now,
Exactly.
uh, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he had to play against somebody, to continue his dominance. Um, but when I look at LeBron, I'm just trying to gather an appreciation because in 2003, when he came out of high school, I was a fan of LeBron. I was looking forward to LeBron coming in, and I mean, this conversation about it could go so long with my opinions of LeBron and all the different. There's several different reasons why I just cannot put him in that GOAT category. The 2011 Dallas series is one of them.
Hmm.
Going to Miami is another. Going to Miami and then playing in that series, just so much moving around for LeBron. I want to compare LeBron more like to Wilt Chamberlain because Wilt Chamberlain affected winning wherever he went. He had the same type of impact. Whatever team he was on was a contender. Didn't always win, but they were always contenders.
Hmm.
And that's how I kind of put LeBron in his category.
Uh, yeah, he the goat conversation. That's just he can't even get in there. He can be top five. He can be top three if you want to do that. But as far as Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like it's just not even up for debate. And that's just eye test. That ain't we because we can make the stats say anything we want them to say. Um, it's just eye test. I think those two were just more skilled at playing the game of basketball than LeBron. I think LeBron has a lot of physical attributes that have allowed him to last this long, be effective this long, to affect winning this long. I mean, his passing skills probably what second to only Magic Johnson. You can maybe argue that they better than Magic if you want to.
I'm
Um,
not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say
hey,
that.
some people would, some
I'm,
people
I'm,
would.
I'm gonna tell you why I say that when you talk about comparing LeBron and Magic. Athletically, LeBron off the chart. Even shooting the basketball, LeBron has developed to be a much better shooter than Magic was. Just the ability to be available, LeBron's taking great care of his body. But when you talk about Magic, Magic could play his position and run real offense. But LeBron, he has a lot of the same skill set, but he really doesn't like he doesn't play well off the basketball. I would like to think that Magic was a better post player than LeBron. Um, Magic got his team into sets traditionally, like a point guard would, and he didn't have to. He always found the matchup. Now, don't get me wrong. To be fair to LeBron, the Magic did have Kareem. He did have James Worthy. He had a
Ivan Scott, Michael
yeah. He
Porter.
had guys around him, and then he didn't have to go from place to place. It was just a different league, and Magic came in, and he had Kareem first and foremost, and kicked his rookie off from that point. But more exciting, Magic hands down, because Magic did some things with the basketball in transition. His highlight reel, I mean, just his passes alone is a highlight reel. Whereas LeBron, he has very good vision, but it's like he hit shooters. Occasionally he hit a cutter, but Magic had the ability to run a set, break that set, and make a play at the same time. He could play off the ball a little bit better than LeBron, I think.
It's something you said there when you were saying about the sets and LeBron ain't really, really played no offense pretty much his whole career. I think we need to have. I think we need to get Etwan on here. No, I mean I'm serious. I think we need to get him in here.
Okay.
He played in the league 10 years. I just want to know. Can you
Yeah.
break it down? What are the coaches? What are they doing in practice? Like, are there sets, or is it just pretty much one pass, read and react? Like, I really want to get that kind of insight from an NBA player because I'm trying to watch the games last night, and I'm like, we know what the triangle offense looked like. We know what was supposed to happen. If they put us out there, we probably could make, 2 or 3 correct passes or whatever. I can't recognize any offensive set other than a pin down or a pick and
Or
roll.
pick and roll. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we need to get him on here just so he could be like, okay, well, we do got certain set. I just need to know. I need clarification.
I'm pretty sure we can try and make that happen. And the thing is, I'm willing to bet that he'll bring, if he was to come on, he'd bring an element that we would understand, but we probably as spectators never really pointed out. I mean, because I do believe that teams are running sets, but it's more. It's not a lot of ball and player movement. It's more dribble.
Just
Uh,
dribble.
it's more screen. It's more pick and roll, that type of stuff. So I believe they do have sets. I just think it's totally different from what we're used to. Ball and player movement. There's not as much ball movement and not as much player movement. Now, when you watch teams like the Golden State Warriors, you see ball and player movement.
Right,
You do see Steph kind of wing off and dribble a little bit more and get to a spot. But outside of Steph and maybe Poole, most of those guys are playing to coming off a screen, something like that. More traditional basketball, playing in space, hitting shots, and creating a space for even a post player to even dominate if you got a legitimate post from time to time.
right. That's another thing. Like Joel Embiid, do they got? All right, Joel, just go post up, or we're gonna run some action before you get to the post up. Like, I just need to know. So we got to get him on here, and just so he can give us the high level overview of NBA coaching. Like, what are they saying? What are they talking about? because we know up to, I mean, you know, up to the high school level, you coaching, the college level, we know we can recognize sets and basketball situations. We can recognize that. This NBA, man, I'm trying. I'm watching the game to really understand the game, and I don't see it.
When you say that, it's a perfect segue into last night's basketball games. And when I looked at the Atlanta Hawks play against the Miami Heat, that's your squad. So
I don't know if they was the Heat last night. They just was Miami last night.
so my thing is, Miami just looked like they played kind of careless to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looked like they knew, like, if we lose this game, we get another one.
At home, yeah.
And that's how they play. Like, we lose this one, we get another. Because they made runs in this game, but they fell down very early in this game for them
24.
to be playing at home. You would with a veteran like Jimmy Butler and an established ball player like Bam Adebayo. I would have thought that they wanted to get the game over with and play the games and just get on to the next opponent. This is a team that went to the championship in the bubble a couple
Mm-hmm.
years back, went to the Eastern Conference Championship last year, if I
Yep.
remember correctly. I would have thought they would have had a little bit more of a sense of urgency in this play-in game, given it with the experience they had to get this game over with and just move on to the next round. We in the playoffs. Let's get a little bit of whatever little bit of rest we can get and get it going. But last night they looked like they just like we got another game. We're turning on in the next game. That's how they look to me. Now, with the exception of Lowry, Lowry looked like he played with the intent.
Toronto.
With it, yeah, he looked like he wanted to win last night. And from time to time, so did Jimmy Butler. But the shots they were taking, the shot selection, and then when they took shots, who was taking the shots, I'm like, they cannot honestly think they're going to win a basketball game with Bam Adebayo bringing it up and pulling up from 20 feet. I'm like, no, they this it brought to mind when the playoffs used to start, it was a certain level. It was another level.
Yeah.
The physicality amped up. The game kind of slowed down because the possessions were so precious. And last night I just seen a Miami Heat team that just went out and said, you know what, we lose this game, we got another.
That's
And that's the perception I got last night.
that's exactly how they played last night. I don't know if you remember back to the Eastern Conference Final Series last year. They played Game 5 the same exact way. Came home, 2-2, series tied at 2-2, and they went out there and just laid an egg. And everybody thought that series was over going back to Boston, and they somehow pulled out the Game 6 win in Boston. I remember Draymond Green saying, we're going to play Boston. Well, they ended up playing Boston, but he thought they was going to be closed out in 6. That was the exact same effort that they put on display last night. Jimmy missed. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing, but he missed maybe about 4 or 5 layups. I'm talking smoked some bunnies last night. Bam Adebayo. Listen, I'm off of this dude. I'm officially done with this guy. And the reason I say this is because this dude been living off of his Bubbles performance, how he played in the bubble for 3 years. He got paid off of that. He didn't held up trades. We could have got KD, could have got Kevin Durant, but management didn't want to include Bam in the deal, and he held it up. And I've seen too many big games, playoff games, where this guy comes up, like you said, bringing the ball down the floor. I know that's part of their offense. They want to put the ball in his hands and let him be a decision maker. I think they think that adds a different element to their offense. But Clint Capella had 4 points and 21 rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds. The Heat only had 6 offensive rebounds as a team. He out offensive rebounded the whole team by himself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm off of the whole Bam Adebayo train. I really think not even trying to improve that team from last year. I mean, because they pretty much just lost PJ Tucker and just ran it back, and they just got a year older. I think it's time to break this core up. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. I've been way down on him, but if he didn't have 33 last night, they would have got beat by 25.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely came out with the attitude of, if we don't win this one, we got the next one, or let's duck Boston to play Milwaukee. Or they might just be like, you know what, let's just drop both of these and just go home and be done with it. Because they definitely not beat Milwaukee. I give them a chance versus Boston. Maybe they go a strong 6 games, but this thing, I mean, they just delaying the inevitable anyway. So
Yeah, like I said, it just looked like they were really careless last night. On the other hand, they lost this game 116-105 to Atlanta. And Trey had a hell of a game. He got to the basket whenever he wanted. And that was another thing. Man, what was the defensive? Look, man, at some point in time, this got to be the playoffs. Man, I don't want to commit flagrant fouls, but damn, there's got to be a premium for getting to the rim at some point in time in the season. And let's see, what would he cover? Trae Young, 25, he had 25, eight rebounds, and 7 assists. The simple fact that he got 8 rebounds.
that's what I'm saying.
That lets you know that gives me the impression that they just knew they had another game. And those 25 points look like way more than 25. Because it just seemed like he was getting to the basket whenever he wanted. Like I said, these play-in games, I believe it a result of the load management issues that they've had in the past. So now that we came up with these play-in games, and I think they kind of want to, maybe they want to get the same type of impact that you get out of the NCAA tournament. Now the Bulls come on tonight, and I'll probably be a little bit more into that game because it's the Chicago Bulls, and I know quite a few Bulls fans. I take a little bit of an interest in that, but just as a whole, just this NBA play-in stuff is. I'm still getting used to it. I'm pretty sure you may know a lot more about it than I do. As far as like, I know the 2 teams that the 4 teams they played last night were I guess they were the higher seeds,
Yeah,
and they were like, they get. If you lose, you still get a chance to win a game and make it.
right.
But tonight's game take on a totally different. It's like single elimination.
Yeah, one and done. Yeah.
So I'm looking for the intensity in the possessions to mean more. I'm looking for, a little bit more intensity on defense, protect the rim, protect the 3-point line, go get a rebound from time to time. You dig? So the Toronto Raptors and Chicago Bulls game will be tipping off shortly. So that's a few things I'm gonna be looking forward to in these games. With these win or go home games, are they gonna have a little bit more intensity than last night's game? Now, we talked about LeBron earlier, and I don't know if you caught the game last night.
Yep. I was watching
with
the game.
LeBron and Timberwolves.
I was watching the
The
game.
Lakers.
Yeah, I was watching.
So I unfortunately had to get out and get to work, and by the time I made it in to work, this game was kind of over with, but had some. Seemed to be a pretty good game down the stretch. I mean, like I said, I didn't see the ending.
It was a game. It would have drove you crazy because it was a game that felt like nobody wanted to win. execution down the stretch, I say within the last 3 minutes, was very poor. Um, let's see. I know LeBron took a bad step back three. Uh, he had a turnover. It was a fast breaks type situation. I think he ended up throwing the ball. It was between him and Schroeder. The ball went out of bounds because they couldn't just get on the same page. There was an inbounds play where LeBron didn't come to really meet the ball, and I think it wasn't Taurean Prince. Can't remember his name on the Timberwolves. Stepped in, knocked it out. LeBron hit the floor trying to get the ball. They called a foul on LeBron. It was a lot of plays. I know how you watch the game and how you feel about late game execution and the point guard. You know, this is the time when you manage the game and win it. It was a lot of that. I mean, Anthony Davis fouls Mike Conley on a three-pointer in the short corner, like the far corner. And Mike Conley hits 3 free throws and it goes into overtime. Like, nobody wanted to win that game. Anthony Edwards was 3 out of 17. The Timberwolves already told you what they thought about Rudy Gobert. Like, you suspend your anchor. You suspend your defensive anchor for a play-in game. So they thinking the same thing. Well, if we lose this one, he'll be back for the next one game, I guess. But
I didn't think about that, but that's the way you can look at it. Like, we got another one. He'll be we'll use him in the second game.
The bigger statement though is okay. Just take anybody. If Joel Embiid do that to Tobias Harris, is he getting suspended for a playoff game? No. Just name any All-Star. And I just think that was an indictment of what the Timberwolves think of Rudy Gobert. Like, man, we didn't gave up these 4 first-round picks for you and everything, and you really ain't. We in the playing game.
Yeah, me personally, I mean, I think they made the right decision, but like you said, it does leave you to wonder how they really, maybe feel about him in the locker room or in the organization. But I do think it was the right decision to be made. And unfortunately, it's right around the time when the team is battling for a playoff spot. That's unfortunate. But if you put kids in that situation, somebody has to pay a price for that. So,
and why not both of them? It was 2 of them involved, right?
I can see your point on that too.
That's a clear indictment on Rudy Gobert. I mean, I know the situation was different back in the finals a few years ago. The Warriors didn't suspend Draymond Green. The league did. The Warriors suspended Draymond when him and KD went at it on the sideline, but guess what? That was December of the regular season. So they got all the time in the world to try and, make a point and make a stance or whatever. Do you think if that was during the playoffs, Draymond is getting suspended by the team? No.
No, not under them circumstances. But in that point, that's when Draymond committed a foul on LeBron, right?
In the finals, yeah. I think they say he kicked him or something like that.
Yeah. Kind of Dennis Rodman style.
Yeah.
If I can remember. But this is a different situation when you got perfect scenario. Draymond Green in the early part of the season, he punches Poole. So you flip the calendar and get later in that same situation. I can't help but to think that the Golden State Warriors would have did the same thing and suspend Draymond. Because
he would have got
it. You got it
on that one, and that's because they just at the end of the Draymond rope, I believe. Draymond ain't got as much leverage. He in the last year of his deal, I think that's a little bit different. But I think Rudy Gobert, he just got traded there. He's still good on his contract status. He ain't playing for no contract. A playoff game. Come on, man. A playoff.
That's what I'm saying. I think if Draymond if the Draymond and Poole situation happens like at the same time, like now, I still think that Golden State would have suspended him for a game.
We saw, and I'm going back to the 90s, we saw Dennis Rodman show up on WCW Wrestling and miss practice during the NBA Finals. Did he get suspended?
No. But see, I think in that situation, the Bulls were dealing with a wild card that they knew how to tame. And I think with that situation in the documentary, the way they dealt with Rodman was they would give him those passes. Now you comparing that to punching a teammate though.
But okay, do you know what was said though?
Hit me with it.
Ryan Anderson, is on record saying like, he talked aggressively to his teammates. We don't take it personally. That's how he is. He told Rudy Gobert, yo, why don't you block some shots? Rudy Gobert fired back and said, yo, why don't you get some rebounds? Ryan Anderson fired back and said, shut the F up, B. So you can't call no dude to be like that. That's okay.
Well, in that case, you kind of provoked it. Both guys played a part in it. I would have suspended both of them. Right. Yeah, I would have suspended both of them. So, like you said, it does make you wonder whether they really think about Rudy, and if he would even be like trade deadline next year this time.
Yeah.
Would he even be with the Timberwolves? That's something to think about.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
I'm watching the game. That's all.
But we got a couple games tonight, and then I want to get off. It was something that crossed my mind. I'm gonna bring up to you, but just to bring up today, we got the Bulls playing the Raptors in the first game. That
Toronto,
game should be, in Toronto. That game will be tipping off real soon. It'll be on ESPN. And the second game is the Thunder and the Pelicans. Now, I don't know a lot about the Thunder. I'm going to be honest with you. But the Pelicans. The one thing about the Pelicans that just brings to my attention is Zion Williamson. When are we going to see this guy play basketball consistently? And it also makes me think about this Victor Wembanyama situation. Everybody talking about this generational talent, and I get it. But wasn't Zion that generational talent just a few years ago?
Not to me, because I didn't see the game to back up generational talent status.
Well, I'm talking about the narrative, national narrative that was put on Zion Williamson coming into the league. Now, don't get me wrong. When you watch highlights of Victor Wembanyama, you can see the skill set. You can see they call him a bigger Kevin Durant. I can see it, but I'm a guy that's big on just consistency. As a fan, I want to see you do it over and over and over again. And the reason why I bring this up because I'm not big on hyping up guys before they get there. Because so many things you got to think about, the health, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like this is yet to be seen. But I just want to get back on this Pelicans thing. Wait, are we going to see Zion Williamson anytime soon? He had an interview where he was saying, where he was answering some critics about saying that he don't want to sit out games. He really wants to play, but he wants to feel like himself. He wants to, it's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? He wants to feel like himself. And coming from what we know, when you talk about guys like Jordan and Bird and Magic, them guys took pride in playing for the fans. But just a different day, man. But Pelicans and
I think he's trying to get
OKC tonight.
That's what I think.
I can see that too. I can see that too. But I mean, as we move on, I mean, if you trade for Zion Williamson, what are you getting?
You got all it take is one team to be a sucker. It's one team. I'm sure if we just poll random general managers in the NBA saying, "Hey, if you had a chance to get Zion Williamson right now, would you do it?" And I'm sure what is 30 teams in the league?
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna find a handful that would plunge and go get him. Just because one, he ain't been on the court enough, so he's still somewhat of an unknown. His I don't think the hype and the potential has rubbed all the way off of him yet. They'll be like, well, our medical staff can keep him together and we gonna do this. Like he gonna get that second chance to go somewhere and still be able to prove that he's Zion Williamson before he gets to that third chance where they realize, okay, he's just a nice piece to have on the team.
I believe he would deserve a change of scenery. A change of scenery might do him well, but I mean, and maybe he doesn't want to be in New Orleans, and maybe that's got something to do with his ability to consistently play basketball. Maybe he, don't want to play through the pain. Maybe got a low threshold for pain. But I mean, I see no reason to just push through and go for your teammates or whatever, and then just think about they not already renegotiated his deal, right? He not is
As
he? Yeah, they not already extended him from his rookie deal, right?
he signed the extension, I believe it was this summer. He signed the extension this summer, and when he signed it, I was like, oh, he's just trying to get traded with that money. That's what he's trying to do. Because I mean,
Yeah.
there is a legit. I think he does have a legit health question, like how much can I be able to play? So he went on ahead and signed that. I got this 205 million or whatever he gonna get guaranteed, but I'm still trying to get up out of here in New Orleans and trade me with that
Yeah.
money.
And I think most basketball fans that's been able to watch NBA basketball for over the years, the one thing coming into the league, I had a question for him was his conditioning, and it was evident very early, even in the summer league when he went to summer league, he did not look like the guy. His body changed from Duke just over a few months to get into the summer league play, and I think he got injured in the first game of summer league, and it's been a up and down ever since, and it's been a whole lot more down than ups.
He
And
looked heavy when he got drafted to me. The
yeah,
lightweight
that's what I'm
shoot on.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like the transition from his NCAA uh, uh, tournament, last game of the tournament, through the draft process. By the time we saw him again in shorts and basketball uniform, his body had changed, but and he looked like he looked like he could have been like more of like a Anthony Mason type
Yeah,
build.
yeah.
And and but he looks like now is like he closer to Oliver Miller than Anthony Mason. Now he's not Oliver Miller.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying he's closer to Oliver Miller in his body type than Anthony Mason.
But
And I don't know if you can play in this league like that.
it's funny that you bring up Anthony Mason though, especially when I just made that comment about when he gets to that third chance or whatnot. That's probably a good comparison because Anthony Mason changed his game. Like he could give you probably about 14 points, get you some rebounds and stuff. That athleticism that Zion walking with, that's gonna wane,
Yeah.
especially if you can't keep your weight under control. So that might be a player that he can. I guess he would have to be the 2023, the new generation of that, still be able to step out and shoot the three or whatnot.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
that might be the lane that he ultimately has to go in because as far as being generational talent, that's already out the window for me. He can be an all-star. I think superstar is he got a 10% chance to be a superstar in this league. But yeah, he's trending on all-star / nice piece for me.
Yeah. Like I say, potential, man. Potential. It after seeing what I've seen, potential it ain't really worth much until it actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the guys that I look back on and be like, man, all the excitement with him coming out the league. This Pelicans team has taken on an identity without him, and they might even think that they might be able to go on without him. Ingram, this is Ingram's team as far as I'm concerned. He's the one. Him and McCollum are the ones getting it done, but they got the OKC tonight. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Pelicans winning that game tonight, and I'm gonna go ahead. It's hard to pick between the Bulls and the Raptors, but I'm gonna go with the Bulls to keep a few people happy around us. I'm gonna go with the Bulls. So
What I don't want to happen is I don't want the Bulls to win tonight and then have to play Miami and beat the Bull, and then they beat Miami. I won't hear the end of it because I got a lot of Bulls fans too, and they know that I'm still caping and going hard for Miami. So I don't want to see that scenario.
well, I think. Oh, that's something that. Now that you say that, I heard something this morning that really surprised me. Should I say? The Bulls have in attendance home game. They got the best attendance throughout the league.
This
The
current
Bulls, the Bulls have the best attendance throughout the league. Now, when you think about Golden State, I don't want to say Milwaukee, but Golden State is the one team that I would have thought that could kind of had that record, with all the success they didn't had over the years, most recently. And then we got the Bulls. You mean they've been battling for a playoff spot for the past few years, and going into this season without Lonzo Ball, I mean, I don't know how optimistic Bulls fans were about this team one making it to the playoffs and then at least making it to the second round. But to to uh to hear that they got the top attendance, they got the best attendance in the NBA, says a lot about the city of Chicago when you talk about just sports fans in general.
Nah, they say a lot about the United Center and their concession stand. They got a hell of a concession stand, hell of a menu. Remember, they just went on strike a few weeks ago because
Yeah,
they
for a
know they
Big Ten
worth.
tournament.
They know they worth. It's gotta
Yeah.
be.
Don't get me wrong. I know the experience at the United Center is probably top. I want to say it's top notch. Probably not the best experience in the NBA. I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say that.
I
But when you
wouldn't.
say that the fan base consistently sells their building out and at the top of this league, it just said it's been a while since I've been to the United Center. But it says a whole lot more about the fan base and their ability to support their team. It's amazing to me that they could hold that down. The Bulls ain't nowhere been nowhere near a championship team since 2011 when they had Derrick Rose in his MVP season.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I always like to joke with Sox fans and Cubs fans. I said, you know, when you go to Soldier Field, Sox fans and Cubs fans, they're all rooting on the Bears. And apparently that's what's going on at the United Center. The Cubs and Sox fans, they kind of come together and just fill the place up all went along until baseball season.
Other than what is it? Comiskey Park. That ain't what it's called. What is
Guarantee rate.
Yeah, that other than that, the Cubs still draw nice. And the Cubs 7 years removed from the World Series, but even before that, we know Wrigleyville used to be slam packed with people. Uh, the Bulls been always at the highest top of attendance, even when they was upset with Gar and Pax. People still showing up to the game. We know the fan base continually turns out for the Bears games unless it's like 4 degrees outside. Because we saw that last year. But the Bears ain't been.
With the Bears, it depends. It depends on what's on the line. Because if they're in the Super Bowl contention, they
There.
coming.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
coming.
For 4 degrees, they'll be there. But
Yeah.
you guarantee if they play Green Bay Packers in week 16, 15, and Aaron Rodgers is there, it's going to be sold out.
Well,
the Blackhawks are even still drawing nice. It's just pretty much the White Sox.
Hey, I'm gonna hit my man, my boy Foden commented on the show tonight. And his opinion is he think that Zion Williamson won out of. He think Zion Williamson wants out of New Orleans.
I'm about to like this comment right now.
So what's happening, man? You know, thanks for commenting on the show. This is something I want to get a little bit more used to. Commenting on getting them to comment on the shows and stuff like that. So, like I said, you're further ahead when it comes to this technology. I'm still figuring things out, and getting some drawback here.
No, that was me. I was trying to respond to his comment, and it clicked on the volume. That was me.
Okay, yeah. So you see what I mean? I'm a little behind on this, so I'm catching up, getting out of my coaching phases and trying to get a little bit more tech savvy, so that I can fly this thing sometimes solo. Because I told you, man, on them Thursday night studio nights, when you hit that studio, you're gonna mess around. Won't be on. But to wrap up, cause you got to get up and get moving. But I'm gonna touch on something that I want to make sure that I brought up tonight. The NBA playoffs. I don't know if I'm gonna watch. I initially, after the NCAA tournament, I said that I was going to kind of boycott and just watch the semis. The conference finals was when I initially wanted to just pick up the NBA playoffs. But LeBron James is one reason why I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and focus on LeBron. Is it any outside of Miami? And I know you have an interest in Miami and the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
But what other series in the first round that you can think can keep you tuned in?
I'll be paying attention to Golden State and Sacramento, just because I know Sacramento is the hot, sexy team that everybody think they might be on the come with Mike Brown taking over that position and De'Aaron Fox ascending. And then they playing the defending champions. Like, is this the end of that run for that core? So I'll be paying attention to the Golden State series. I'll be paying attention to Phoenix. KD, obviously, that's much CTV. Obviously the Miami Heat, whoever they draw, if they get there, hopefully, they win their next game that they play. But outside of those, I'll be watching Memphis and the Lakers too. I'll be watching because that's LeBron. I think we kind of mentioned that. But outside of maybe those 3 or 4, everything else will just kind of be on in the background. Just so I can I'll look up, check the score, I'll see what's going on. But those 3 or 4 are definitely gonna have my attention. And then it's probably just gonna snowball from there, roll into the second round. Okay, now we got the storylines and the narratives. I'm caught up on everything because this is probably the least NBA basketball I've watched in my life. So I'll be all caught up and wrapped in it. And we know this thing goes fast. After June, we just gonna be stuck with 9 innings of baseball every day. So I'm gonna just have it on and enjoy it while it's here. Get us to the draft, and then we'll have OTAs, and then Big Ten media days, and the training camp will start. So we're gonna have that month and a half dead period. So I gotta soak it all up right now.
So the New York Knicks gonna match up with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that might be a series I might take an interest in. because, and as well as Golden State and Sacramento, because Stephen A. Smith has sold me on that series. I don't watch a lot of Stephen A. But I see a lot of his Instagram feeds and his No Mercy podcast. I have a tendency, have an opportunity to listen to that from time to time. But the angle he's taken with that series, Cleveland and New York, was that what's the kid's name in that traded out of Utah going to Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan, yeah.
Donovan Mitchell gets traded to Cleveland and he wanted to be a Knick. And they said that the Knicks, I guess the Knicks didn't make the deal or wasn't serious about making the deal or whatever. But Stephen A is like, there's no way in the hell that the Knicks and Donovan Mitchell wanted to be a Knick from based on what he's saying. There's nowhere in the hell that they can lose to Donovan Mitchell when he wanted to be there and and he gets traded to the Cavaliers and the Cleveland Cavaliers come in and beat the Knicks. And that's so I'm gonna pay a little bit of attention to that series just for that narrative alone. LeBron, I'm gonna follow LeBron as much as I can. I'm gonna follow Golden State and Sacramento. So I think you sold me on Sacramento and Golden State. You did that. So I might not boycott the first round, and we'll just see how it go. But I personally do not like the first round format. I
I
do not like
again.
7 games.
Me either. Me either.
I think it should be 5 like it was in the old school days, but I know they chasing the money. They're getting that extra bread. But I just think if it was a 5 game series in the first round, maybe it'd be a little bit more intense in that first round. It's not best out of 5, and then I think it will reward the higher seeds that work so hard to get the top seed. The benefit to being in the playoffs when you're a top seed is to play at home, to have the home court advantage, and to get as much rest as possible if you can win games and kind of stay at least 2 or 3 games up on your opponent, get the series over with. But you sold me on that Sacramento Golden State, so I'm gonna focus on LeBron. I'm gonna focus on Sacramento Golden State. I think I'm gonna focus on Cleveland and New York. And if the Bulls get in, I can't help but to watch the Bulls. So,
If the
but
Bulls get in, that means the Heat get out.
well, I'm just telling you how I see it because
Yeah.
right now that's what's going on because the NFL draft is the biggest thing going on for me personally. But I don't like getting into the mock drafts. I don't really like getting into all that because those stories and rumors they change so much. I don't really like to get sold on what my team may or may not do. We talk about who the Bears made, what the Bears do, what they might do, with who they might get. I don't get into all that. So what's gonna carry into that is the first round of the NBA playoffs. And you sold me on that, and Stephen A sold me on. So I guess I'm gonna focus in on a couple things, but we gonna wrap up, let you get out there and get that bread. And
Yeah.
it's been real. A lot earlier, have an opportunity to go on early before the games. Now the game's about to kick off. So all those people that's watching us at this point in time, if you taking the time to watch, enjoy the games, root your teams on, get ready for the NBA playoffs, and let's just see if they can hold my interest through the first round.
Yeah.
Hey, last but not least, are you going to see the Air movie
I
about
was,
Michael Jordan, about Nike, not about Michael Jordan, but about Nike? Because
you know,
Mike ain't even in the damn movie, and I got a problem with that.
yeah, that too. You know, I'm a Nike horse, so I'm gonna see it. I don't know if I'll actually go to the theater to see it. It might be something, when it come on Netflix, HBO Max, or something like that. I catch it then. But
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not too much of a fan of Michael Jordan actually not being in the movie.
Yeah,
You know, they centered
me
it around
neither.
his mom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not must see TV, but I'll see it when I see it.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking, should I go to the theater and see this, or should I make them wait on my money or my dollar or my viewing pleasure? Because how in the hell can you make a movie about a shoe and a man that helped? Just I don't get it, bro. I don't understand it, so I think I'm just gonna wait. I was thinking about going to the theater, but that's something else you sold me on. I'm gonna see if I can wait it out.
Yeah,
So watch the game podcast, man. Enjoy the games, and let's see if the NBA playoffs. Let's see if they can hold my interest.
we out.